Boy, that was ugly. There's nothing more you can say. Skylar Thompson is hurt. Two cornerbacks are hurt as well, as Fuller and Storm Duck look to be hurt. We'll have the latest on them. We are waiting for Mike McDaniel to get to the podium, so we'll go over that when he does. Dolphins drop an ugly one, 24-3, as Skylar Thompson may have just had his last legitimate chance in Miami in the aqua and orange. We will talk about it all. I mean, do me the favor. Don't do them the favor. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this one.
Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, that open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. It's going over a touchdown again! Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. And listen, I'm going to go off here a little bit in this opening because there's a lot to talk about. It's just not impressive. There's a lot. Listen, I said when Tua went down, if this thing implodes, I don't see how Greer's job is safe. I don't see how it doesn't blow up in his face. I still stand by that. I do not see how this doesn't blow up in Greer's face if this continues to implode and he's not out of a job and they don't turn around and say, hey, you've used all your 9 lives, you're out of here. But Mike McDaniel has a lot to answer for today. Now, I want to make this clear. I thought this was poor execution-wise from the players to the coaches. And this is now the second game in a row. And this is now the second game in a row. You could sit here and you could say they've been embarrassed. They got dominated today, 24-3. I thought the game plan with Skylar was awful. I mean, Skylar Thompson was in there for, when he was in there, at one point, he had, 24 dropbacks, and we had 8 runs? Why are you putting the ball into Skylar Thompson's hands like that out of the gate? That is terrible game planning, and that is bad play calling. I mean, you've got a guy who, you look at Skylar Thompson earlier in the game, you could see the tentativeness right away. The guy didn't even look comfortable handing off the football. He was bumping guys in the shoulders. Looks like he was going the wrong way, then having to adjust. I mean, Skylar Thompson didn't look comfortable from the moment this game kicked off. And this is his 3rd year in this offense. This is his 3rd year in this offense. And you tried to convince us that he beat out Mike White. We've seen it with Liam Eichenberg. I mean, they finally moved on Noah Benogany. But now we're seeing it again with Skylar Thompson. Can this team just admit when they don't get guys right and move on? Forget about draft status. Forget about how much time you've invested. It took you that long to move off Noah Benogany. You're still trying to see this through with Liam Eichenberg. We're seeing Austin Jackson regress. What did I warn everyone all offseason? What did I say all offseason? I said, let's see what Austin Jackson looks like without Robert Hunt next to him. And Austin Jackson is struggling with Liam Eichenberg next to him. Aaron Brewer has been by far our best and most consistent offensive lineman. And I said I don't think the drop-off would be that big from Brewer to Connor Williams, and it has not. But Mike McDaniel, You have got to answer for your poor game planning. If that was your game plan to drop Skylar back a bunch of times, because the game wasn't out of hand. You're only down by 2 scores. Now, player execution. Bad penalties. Julian Hill continues to have a rough season. Now, he's making some plays when Tim Boyle came in there, but Julian Hill continues to be a rough go. No matter how you try to cut it with me, he's a rough go. McDaniel and Greer, your incompetence with the offensive line, where media, the fans, everyone and their grandmother knew what the issue was, but you guys are more worried about the offensive line than we are. Buddy, it took 3 games for Patrick Paul to be out there when you guys basically wanted to redshirt him. And let's be honest right now, you might as well roll with Patrick Paul. You might as well get the kid's feet wet and get the reps for him. Armstead, this is the healthiest I've been since I've been here. Buddy, 3 games. It took 1 game and you're already wearing a shoulder harness. So that tells me you had a pre-existing injury. And now we're into game 3. Now you've got a shoulder injury. You got an eye injury. You got a quad injury. Holy jeez. You breathe on this guy and he tears he could tear an ACL. And the player execution, like Tim Boyle's in. We're down 17-3. Boyle makes a beautiful touch throw to the back of the end zone. Smythe can't make the catch. He drops the ball. Robert Jones pulling, doing nothing in space. And because of what he whiffs on his block after he pulls, Achane runs shut down. Achane's getting you chunk yardage at the beginning there, but you decide, let's put the ball in Skylar Thompson's hands. In your game plan, Mike McDaniel, you had no way of involving Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle when they're being paid $60 million between the 2 of them. What's the excuse here? You had bad quarterback play, you had bad execution from the players, and you had play calling and game planning from Mike McDaniel that was just as bad. This guy's calling plays and game planning like Tua's back there. And guess what? Tim Boyle looked light years better than Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson been in this offense for 3 years. Tim Boyle been in this offense for 3 weeks, and Tim Boyle looks light years better. Making some nice tight window throws, etc. I mean, this keeps up. Greer's going to get fired, and McDaniel's going to get himself fired. I've been saying it since 2022. I said it last week. I said it last year. I'll say it again. You have the play caller in the building. It's Darrell Bevell. You have the play caller in the building. You need to take over this offense. It's Darrell Bevell. F. Frank Smith's feelings. I don't care if he gets left over by the quarterback coach. You need Darrell Bevell to be calling the plays. This man has led a top 5 offense. McDaniel, you need to stick to play design. And you need to learn under someone as a play caller. Because you ain't getting it right now, brother. You got zero feel for the game flow and calling relative to the game flow. I mean, what else can I say about Mike McDaniel? And the personnel, Julian Hill, get this guy off my screen. Skylar Thompson, get this guy off my screen. Liam Eichenberg, get this guy off my screen. I told you coming out of the preseason, Robert Jones was not good enough. And again, you saw Robert Jones, again, trash in space, trash pulling. But you didn't want to set yourself up. Well, never mind Wynn having a setback in rehab. You should have already had the contingency plan in place given Wynn's history. I mean, at least I can give you the credit. You went out and drafted Patrick Paul as a contingency plan. But you got no contingency plans in place. Hell, I would be trying Andrew Meyer at guard at this point. I'm not even lying. I am not even lying. And then McDaniel, how many times am I going to say this? I was calling for the fullback dive a couple weeks ago. It worked. Brother, you think just changing personnel and bringing Wilson in, that changes everything, and all of a sudden teams aren't going to expect the look? They're expecting it more when they see Jeff Wilson come in as a fullback, but I digress. Where's the wrinkles? Where's the fake fullback dive, crackback toss? Where's that? Where's that? You're not even adding wrinkles to plays you're getting success with to keep guys on their heels. Instead, all you got to do is overload the box, shift in on the interior, and give her a go. And you shut that down. You're not even making them think that something else might come. They line up for it, they expect it, they shut it down. And listen, did the defense get off to a little bit of a slow start? Sure. But they hunkered down. They had 4 straight drives where 3 of them they allowed 3 yards and 1 of them they allowed 9 yards. Once again, the defense gave you every opportunity. The defense wasn't to blame for week 2 either. That was poor player execution, poor game planning and play calling. I mean, let's be real here. If you cannot win a game without Tua Tagovailoa and you got all this talent on the roster, there's bigger issues at play than your quarterback 1 being out. And to that, I now say is, if you go 1-5, do you even want to bring Tua back? You might as well ride it out and try and get one of my boys like Jackson Dart or Garrett Nussmeier, or hell, maybe you're going to go for that number 1 pick. I don't know. I just do not get it. Mike McDaniel continues to shoot himself in the foot. The personnel themselves continue to shoot themselves in the foot. No, you can't stop the Tua talk. Tua's going to be back. Tua's back, bro. Tom Pelissero said today he was cleared to travel with the team, and he's already been cleared to resume football activities as long as he feels good. They put him on the IR because they were either pressed by the NFL or they were worried about their own optics. By all accounts, Tua going to Disney on Ice 24 hours after and everything, Tua should be back for the Tennessee game or the Patriots game, but they decided to throw him on ice for 4 weeks, and that might end our season. How many guys you know a week after being cleared? Tua's been through this concussion stuff. He wasn't cleared to travel with the team before. I'm telling y'all. I told y'all after that game that Tua was up walking around. He wasn't sitting in a dark room. He was in the back where the bright lights are, talking to everyone, asking how they were. I told all y'all, he got his bell rung. He was probably good to go. And now you've got an offense that's so heavily tailored to Tua. You got Skylar Thompson in there who you need to make it far more vanilla for. He can't process quickly. He can't read defenses very well. He can't anticipate worth a good goddamn. I mean, we got that ball inside the 10 off the pick, and he has Jalen Waddle for a touchdown coming across his face, but he runs to the other side. And you didn't dump down the playbook for him. You didn't put Skylar Thompson in the best position to be successful, albeit Skylar Thompson didn't do himself any favors. I mean, the guy He got the what forced the fumble on the first fumble from Skylar Thompson? Did a ghost punch that out? What happened? And now this season could potentially be in shambles. I mean, I'd be leaving Skylar, and there's two things that would be happening before we board that plane. Number one, hey, Mike, you want to keep your job? You got to talk to Darrell Bevel and see if he's willing to call plays. Number two, hey, Skylar, guess what? Starbucks is hiring in Seattle, okay? The Starbucks headquarters is hiring. You go apply for a job. You're not getting back on this plane. Again, Boyle been in this offense for 3 weeks, comes in and looks better than a guy who's been in it for 3 years. And last offseason, 2023 offseason, I was screaming for Baker Mayfield. I was screaming for a competent backup in case this type of shit happened. Screaming. And you continued to invest in Skylar Thompson. You balked at the notion that you needed, that you needed help. Anyways, McDaniel's at the podium right now. Let's rock this, okay? McDaniel's at the podium right now. So let's see what he has to say. I can't wait to hear this. I honestly can't wait to hear this.
Unfortunate, but such is the nature of
the
National Football League, and I don't think, I'm not looking for excuses. I don't think anybody in the locker room is. It's tough, but the National Football League's tough.
How did each one do, Thompson and Tim Boyle?
I thought the positives were it took care of the ball. I did think.
Didn't Thompson have 2 fumbles, bro? Took care of the ball.
Good job. Operating the offense. I don't think, I think there needed to be a lot better job in preparation on my part. So
yeah, no shit.
11 penalties is not good enough, but we took care of the ball.
The guy had 2 fumbles, and we're just forgetting this.
Boyle came in and I thought did a great job leading the guys.
Stop with the alcoholic stuff, bro. I'll ban you for that. That's ridiculous.
Good in the huddle, and I think was very good communicating the things that I needed communicated from the sidelines. And I think the bottom line is, I see the quarterback as an extension of the offense, and the offense is an extension of me. And 3 points, I've never won a game scoring 3 points, so I think collectively, starting with me, that just needs to be better, and we have to get it figured out fast. I haven't talked to Kyle.
This is Mike McDaniel's 8th loss by 14 or more points in 39 games as Dolphins head coach. Almost half.
Injury that was pretty painful, and half of the pain or half of the frustration.
And 26 penalties through 3 games.
He was really trying to find a way to not come out of the game, and ultimately it was pretty painful. He fought through it, but we'll get a chance to look at him tomorrow.
So with these past 2 weeks, I mean, having Tua go down, having Skylar go down, I mean, what is kind of the next planning step?
Yeah, that offensive line mocking's blowing up on you, huh?
Well, I think you have to look at everything, and you have to find a way to give your team the best chance to win. I think I've in 2022, this was something that happened to us as well, and ultimately the rest of the league does not care, nor should they. So we have to find a way to get better collectively, and it's going to take a better effort by everyone, including myself, or starting with myself.
What was the play call, the reasoning behind the play call right before the end of the half? Why not throw Hail Mary?
It was the same. The approach was the same that we did week 1 of the last year against the Chargers, where you're trying to take a shot, and
Brother, we had bigger problems than the refs.
and make a defense defend. We in that situation last year, we got a defensive pass interference that led to a field goal in a that was ultimately a 2-point game. We were trying the same thing and did not work out the same. So, but that was the thought process.
And what about the breakdown on the Metcalf touchdown? I believe it was a couple
Yeah, there's a couple things from at the beginning of the game that I know the good news is we found our rhythm as a defense. I thought as the game progressed, I think, and the good news is we have the right people on this team. I think, and the right people on the defense in particular for them to not worry about the overall score, but more worry about how we can keep self-inflicted wounds from hurting us. And that was as frustrating as that was, being a point of emphasis going into the game. I think collectively I was happy with the resolve to put forth better defense after that and respond.
self-inflicted wounds, a lot of penalties pre-snap on offense, also on special teams, just really rhyme or reason.
Yeah, no, I think that we have to handle the road better, and that starts with me. But then that continues throughout everyone. I think that the crowd was rocking, and we looked as though it was the first time in a hostile environment, and so you that's a fast lesson that you have to learn from and get better, or you're not going to expect any differing results moving forward. But yeah, you can't. I think it was 11 penalties for 85 yards, and especially when you're having issues in the red zone, and coming up with no touchdowns and being down there several times, you can't afford that to win the football game.
So on Armstead with the eye injury and Kevin Fuller, so he had the concussion, took him out.
So both will be with Teron. He got poked in the eye, and then the UNC cleared him during the game. Then post game looked at him again, and him and Fuller in the protocol now.
Concussion protocol for Armstead and Fuller.
And we'll evaluate him tomorrow.
How do we get Tyreek more involved in the offense? In the first half, at one point, he only had one target. Second half, it seemed like kind of picked up. But going forward with all these injuries, where do you see him fitting more into the offense?
Absolutely. The never, as a captain and a leader, Tyreek did a great job all week trying to, make sure that he was doing his part in not only the pass game but the run game. And in that process, they give the Seahawks credit. They did some things.
I'll get your donations after this. Don't
Nullify
worry.
him, but between I think ultimately some of the stuff that we expected to be cleaner in the run game leads to longer drives and more opportunities for him. But that's this team needs him. He was prepared. He was ready. He had the appropriate energy. So I got to do a better job of getting the ball, and we've got to do a better job staying on the field so we can get our playmakers the ball. There was a lot of I think we only had maybe 3 and outs, but there was a lot of 4 or 5 play drives that we're able to get a first down, and then couldn't get out of our own way. So that has to get better for everyone to get better.
So touching on the offense too, I mean, with kind of the roller coaster at quarterback you guys are having right now, how does the offense kind of stay clicking like they have been? I mean, with so many changes kind of under center there, what do they have to do to be ready?
No, I think the consistency has to be found from the nucleus and the group, the guys that truly know the offense have to, really be on it. And, we have to just keep chopping wood and get better fast. Those things happen. And every single season, there's teams that find a way to win football games when their starter or even their backup's out. And so that's what we're signed up for this year, in present um, in the present situation. And I think it's also important to, you know, like I told the team, we've had two consecutive seasons where we were winning football games, and I think we're 3-0 in both scenarios. And it's a long season. It's week 3, and we have to. The idea is that you're continuing to get better, so you're at your best at the end of the season. That was our main focus coming into this year, and it hasn't changed. It's just magnified. But that's the National Football League, and you have to do what you have to do, and we need everyone focused on the right things to get better.
When you look at today's offensive inconsistencies, how much can you attribute to, I guess, uncertainty at quarterback coming in with an unfamiliar face, relatively speaking, and then how much of it is Seattle's defense or penalties or things like that?
Well, I think you can't. I think as competitors, we look at ourselves first. However, it would be silly not to acknowledge the very good plan, effort, and strain and detail by the Seattle Seahawks. I think, I don't think it was the as much of the quarterback as it can easily be made out to be. I think it was the overall orchestration of and execution of plays down in, down out. And
you could say the same for Achane today, bro.
Hard,
we didn't utilize
himself,
Waddle or Tyreek either.
To what we're doing, what we're good at, and how to play clean football. And then as well as, I think there's going to be a lot of guys looking at their finer details and whether or not it lives up to the standard of the way they execute their job. So that it is something that bottom line is it has to be better. So that's our jobs, and we need to do it immediately and have no time to waste.
Early in the game, 4-1, you usually go for that. Why? You said Jason Sanders not able to 57-yard in that scenario.
It was a combination of the work week where Jason Sanders was at pregame, and I thought the matchup and with the defense, I thought points were at a premium, and although there was there were 17 first half points, and they came early. I was kind of playing to where I thought our defense was at, and those are things that you're always debating. Had it been 3 yards further back or 4 yards further back, maybe I make a different decision. But you basically
can't get short yardage
on the first down. I'm kind of considering that where the field position is, and I thought it was close enough that he would have a good strike and effort. So, all right, thank you.
So, I mean, brother, like you could literally explain how this team is in one sequence. Remember where we had a 3rd and 6, and then there was a false start by Liam Eichenberg, and then a legal formation by Austin Jackson, then another legal formation penalty, and then on 4th and 39, an unnecessary roughness penalty against Miami's special teams. Like, this team is just a disaster right now. What's going to be, what's brutal here? This is what's brutal. And this is what you need to think about. Was last year their peak? Did this team peak and not winning a playoff game? Like, I mean, and I've gone back to this. I said this in the offseason. I'll say it again here. Name a team you saw with this poor of an offensive line that went to the Super Bowl or won their conference championship or went to their conference championship. These teams that win playoff games are literally won and lost in the trenches. People wouldn't think we were soft if we had the type of trench play where we punch you in the mouth. They just wouldn't. And really, other than Aaron Brewer run blocking right now, who in that interior is punching you in the mouth? Hell, who at tackle's doing it? That's not Austin Jackson's game. Now, Patrick Paul, that is a bit of his game. Jamal. Armstead's that type, but Armstead can't stay healthy. The problem that this guy's running into here, you got what? 26 penalties in 3 games right now, I think. 26. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? This is the 14th time in 39 games. Mike McDaniel's coached 39 games for the Dolphins, and this is the 13th time. No, sorry, this is the 8th loss by 14 or more points in 39 games. Just a little under a quarter. About 20% of the time, Mike McDaniel's coaching, 20% of the time, we are losing by 14 or more points. Skylar Thompson, Bevel, Greer, McDaniel, he was your guy. You guys backed up and put faith into him. And that just got shattered by a guy who's been in this offense for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That's how long Tim Boyle's been in this offense, and he looked better than Skylar Thompson by a mile. Like, this is just not good right now. And what's crazy is we had issues before Tua went down. This team could easily be 0-3 if they didn't come back against the Jags. Was the officiating good today? No. They missed the horse collar. They cost us on that play where Ingold thought they blew it dead and the run went nowhere. Sure, the officiating wasn't good. But is officiating the reason we got our ass handed to us today? No. That came down to player as well as coaching execution. Our game plan was shit. The play calling was shit. Our execution was shit. Defense started off slow, but they packed it. They got it together and they tightened up and they gave us a chance. We stuck around with Skylar Thompson playing the way he did and then Tim Boyle coming in relief because our defense gave us a chance. Donations. That's why I said I don't care. Give me Huntley during the live stream for the game. Russell said start Huntley. Ken Rosa says we got investigated when we brought Tua back on a short week against the Bengals and he got hurt. Should an investigation be done on forcing Tua to go to IR when he's clearly able to play next week? I mean, hey, Ken, you saw what Tom Pelissero, not only was he cleared to fly with the team, he's already been cleared to resume football activities. Go look at the stages of protocol. Go look at the stages. That's stage 3. Stage 4 is you're allowed to return to work and you're allowed to fully return. That's what I'm sitting here saying. If you look at it, right? He's basically been cleared to resume football activities. As long as he's feeling good. I mean, as long as he's been feeling good, he's allowed to resume football activities. That's literally like stage 5. Like that does not make me happy. Right? Doctors cleared, this is per Tom Pelissero. Doctors cleared Tua Tagovailoa to do normal team activities as long as he is, quote, feeling good. Right? I mean, let's do it right here for y'all. Right? Let's do it right here for y'all. Here you go, right here in front of you. Number 5, football activity and clearance. So he's at 4 or 5 right now, basically, already. What does this tell you? That he should be back. The Tennessee game or the Patriots game at the latest is when he should be back. He should either be back for Monday Night Football or the Patriots game at the latest based on their own concussion protocol and what doctors are telling him right now. But instead, we got to suffer with Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. Listen, none of us are doctors. I'm just going off what the doctors are telling him. Dr. Draft says, can't believe I'm here, but I think I'm out on McD. A lot of people are out. I'm just telling you right now, this team ain't going to give up. If Greer gets fired and they bring in a new GM, I guarantee you they'll give McDaniel another shot. McDaniel ain't going. I'm telling you right now. Now, I think if a new GM comes in, he'll say, listen, you got to make certain concessions. You know, I could see him giving up play calling, sorry. I could see that being forced upon him. AA says, reason I think it's to his neck like Crosby. So do I, actually, sir. Brother, then that means Tua's not back this season. And if Tua's not back this season, guess what? You're going to be picking pretty high. New GM is the only starting point. That's what I think. It'll be a new GM. And that new GM will come in and say, listen, you're going to make some concessions, and that's just it. And I'll continue to roll. Because McDaniel's highly regarded and revered. I mean, last year he ran the number 1 offense in the NFL. The year before that, it was top 5. Now, we're all living for today. We're not living for yesterday. I get that. But they aren't going to forget that stuff. And if you're down 1-5 and 2 is ready to come back, are you even ready to say come back? What's the point of 1-5? You pretty much lost it. And again, bad gets worse. Bad gets worse. Because here is the deal. Right now, when you look at it, oh, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Let me bring this up. When you look at it right now, bad does get worse. But in the span of 3 games, one of the Miami Dolphins' deepest positions has become one of the thinnest. Cornerback Kendall Fuller left Sunday's game against the Seattle Seahawks because it was ruled that he suffered a concussion during the first half. Fuller, an 8-year veteran, the Dolphins added as a free agent this offseason, was a starter opposite Jalen Ramsey on the boundary. He's a vital part of the Dolphins defense, and so it didn't help that his replacement, undrafted rookie Storm Duck, sustained a shoulder injury in the third quarter and did not return to the game. Sierra Neal replaced Fuller and Duck as a cornerback placed on the boundary opposite Ramsey, Miami's Pro Bowl cornerback. This means the Dolphins finished Sunday's game against the Seahawks with three healthy cornerbacks in Ramsey, Caterco, who primarily works in the nickel, and Neal. Ethan Bonner was not made active, so you know that means he's going to be activated. Fuller being in the concussion protocol means he's subjected to a 3-stage protocol program that will determine when and if he's allowed to resume practicing and playing. So now it continues to get worse for the Miami Dolphins. Kendall Fuller's been our best cornerback this season. I don't think anyone would pretty much debate that. He has definitely been our best cornerback. And now what? And now what? Now this is what we're stuck with. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now you might have even more L's here. You know, again, concussions too. Again, we lose more bodies due to concussions, to head injuries. We just can't catch a break right now. Look at what the writers at the Sun Sentinel are saying. And this is before they met with Mike McDaniel backstage. Look at what they're saying right here. Chris Perkins, that was a total disaster. Injuries, penalties, bad execution. The Dolphins need to find something they can rely on. Defense, special teams, a run game, something, anything. Else it's going to be miserable existence for the next few weeks. David Ferrones, the Dolphins can't seem to stay healthy. They didn't have much of a chance in Seattle with Skylar Thompson, but now he's down, as are several others, as this roster is constantly getting hurt. The only Steve Savekis, the only aspect of the Dolphins operation that noticeably showed up in Seattle was their pass rush with 3 sacks and a major pressure by Emmanuel Ogbah to create an interception at the Seahawks' 6, and a batted ball by Calais Campbell that created a Zach Sealer interception. Otherwise, what an atrocious showing. They're fortunate to have 2 NFL cupcakes, the Titans and the Patriots, coming up in weeks 4 and 5. If Miami isn't 3-2 at the bye, look out below. And Kevin Lerner said third-year quarterback Skylar Thompson looked very much like rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson, and he was injured as the Dolphins appeared overwhelmed by the Seahawks and their surroundings. The next 2 games against the Titans and the Patriots, beatable opponents, see their importance ratcheted up. Like, that's the thing. Like, I want you to think about this right now. Do you realize the territory we're in right now? We're getting into week 4 and we're already in must-win territory. Dr. Draft says 33 penalties and 26 points through 3 games. Unbelievable. But right now, we're heading into week 4 and we are already getting into must-win territory. Think about that for a second. I want you to think about that for a second. You're already getting into this. You're already getting into must-win territory, and we're heading into week 4. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. Like, all of our expectations for this season, win a playoff game. We're just trying to get to the playoffs at this point. Like, that's the reality of the situation. We are trying to get to the playoffs at this point. Like, this is just where we're at right now. This has already blown up in our face. Already. And we're heading into week 4. Already in must-win territory. I mean, what else do you say? What else do you really say at this point? Because they're going to give him the injury excuse. They're going to say, you lost your starting quarterback. It's Grier that's going to get the axe. I'm telling you right now. Quote me. It's going to be Grier that gets the axe. That's what you're going to see. That's who you're going to see this blow up on. Because he's out of his 9 lives. I mean, that's literally what you're going to see. I'm telling you right now. Prepare yourselves. I'm just saying, prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. You know, because I know a lot of you are already sick of Mike McDaniel. But prepare yourself. It's going to be Grier that falls on the sword. That's exactly what it's going to do. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I think Skylar, you saw his last real shot. I don't see how Skylar is going to continue to be given opportunities. I don't. That's not necessarily true, bro. No, Stephen Ross is going to, especially if it's Brandon Shore. I'd bring in Louis Riddick. But McDaniel, you can say what you want about him. Number 1 offense last year, top 5 the year before. A new GM is just going to, Stephen Ross is going to push for McDaniel to stay because he loves him. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to say to him, you just got to make certain concessions. Like you got to change the play caller. But I'm telling you right now, don't buy into that theory. It's going to be Grier gone and we've seen them do this. McDaniel got hired, wanted to bring in Fangio. No, we want you to give Boyer a year. They made him keep Crossman, who's still there. We've seen them do this already. Where they got guys they like upstairs and they make you stick with them. I mean, they seem to do it with players. Never mind Tua. They did it with Liam Eichenberg. You don't think everyone thinks the conversation with McDaniel was just about, bring in and get Tua right. No, you don't think they're talking about get Austin Jackson right because of how high of a pick we invested? Get Liam Eichenberg because of what we invested? Get him right? Listen, I've been talking about bringing in Ozzie Newsome for years. You can't, though. He's an advisor for the Ravens, and I don't think he's leaving. They still pay him a lot of money to be an advisor. I don't think Ozzie Newsome's leaving. I would love it. I agree with you. I've talked about Ozzie Newsome for years on this channel. But he's not going to come. I would go get Louis Riddick. I think Louis Riddick would know how to fix this offensive line. I think Louis Riddick would give McDaniel a chance, but at the same time, tell McDaniel how he wants him to fix his offense. And if you don't do what I say, you will be out on your ass. I would love Louis Riddick. And I said this before. I want to take a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. If that's Jackson Dart, if that's Garrett Nussmeier, if that's someone like those 2 guys are the ones that I like, because I don't think you're going to have a shot at Cam Ward unless you tank. But if you're going for one of those guys in the 2nd round, do I want Grier making that pick? No. And I want this offensive line fixed. It all depends on where we are. If we're picking near 20 in the first, and it's got to depend. Yeah, Jalen Milroe could be a 2nd round guy I like. Intriguing upside. I love Jalen Milroe. I've defended him on X. Love his upside. Love his potential. I'd be down for Jalen Milroe 110% in the 2nd round. You're not getting Cam Ward, bro. You're going to need the number 1 or number 2 pick. We're not going to have it. What would I do if Greer trades for Bryce Young? Question my sanity, because why give up a second or second pick? Even you can make the argument for a 3rd round pick for a guy you got to rebuild confidence-wise and mentality-wise, where you can go get a guy in the 2nd or 3rd round who's a blank canvas and you can build him from the ground up. Buddy, Jackson Dart's number 2 in the Heisman watch right now odds. If you go look at the Heisman odds right now, Jackson Dart's number 2 in the Heisman watch. And you're not going to tank for Nico Iamaleava or, Arch Manning. Quinn Ewers, if the injury keeps him out, he's an interesting one too. If he's there in the 2nd, Quinn Ewers would be a great value pick in the 2nd. But you need a legitimate contingency plan. I called for Baker Mayfield in the 2023 offseason, and, they scoffed at us, just like they did with the offensive line. They didn't see. That's the thing. That's where Greer really misstepped. If you weren't going to take care of the offensive line, you needed to put a legitimate contingency plan in place for Tua in case this happened. You did neither. You let the offensive line go. You let your best lineman since Laramie Tunsil that you've drafted and Robert Hunt walk and replaced him with Liam Eichenberg and expected similar results. And then on the flip side, you didn't get a proper contingency plan for Tua. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's how I feel where we're at with this offensive line. And this guy's been here for 20 years. 20 years. And he's starting to become part of the problem. Yo, you know what's crazy about Julian Hill? They gave Julian Hill all these chances. He's whiffing on blocks. He's taking bad penalties. Sure, he made some plays on the line. But go look at the plays Elijah Higgins makes for Arizona compared to him. Poor game planning. Poor play calling. McDaniel's shown a terrible acumen for adjusting in game or when things are being taken away. Clock management's not good for him. Player execution itself is terrible right now, from undisciplined penalties to actual assignments. And we were seeing some of this stuff before Tua got hurt. And now it's just being magnified even further with Tua out. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. I don't. I mean, both your quarterbacks have been hurt now. And today, Skylar was getting hit a little bit more because of the offensive line than Tua was. Absolutely ugly. Green Bay drafted Jordan Love, drafted QB. Yep. Remember, Jordan Love was the guy I wanted if we didn't draft Tua, right, Don? That was the guy I was banging the table for because I knew we wouldn't get Burrow, and everyone knows I'm a Burrow fan. But I said, get Tua, and if you don't get Tua and you draft an Andrew Thomas or someone, you need to go get Jordan Love. Here's the hope. I'll give you a little bit of hope. Boyle looked good. Not good. He looked better than Skylar Thompson. He's been in it for 3 weeks. Thompson's been in it for 3 years. Will Boyle look a little bit better if we game plan for him to be the starter? The other hope is if Huntley starts to pick things up quickly and he can go for the Tennessee game, he gives us the best chance. He can create out of structure. He can, we don't have a guy with a quick release and quick processing to make up for the poor offensive line right now. But Huntley's ability out of structure and ability to navigate the pocket with his legs That could make up for the lack of an offensive line right now. And the next 2 games are very, very winnable. I chose us to lose this game heading in. Go back to my predictions on Friday. I thought we'd lose this game either way. So I do think you're about to face 2 easier opponents than what you saw today. And I do think Tim Boyle, given 8 days to prepare, he's going to look better than he did today, which was better than Skylar. Or if Huntley gets the playbook, he's probably going to look better than both of the guys because he can mask some of your offensive line deficiencies with his athleticism. So there is some hope. Remember what I said. You got to go 2-2 here. It's not lost yet. We're 1-2. We're 1-2. But you could come out of the next 2 games 3-2. But Mike McDaniel needs to do his part too. Mike McDaniel needs to be better himself. I mean, there were people, go to that preseason roundtable. A few of those, Britt and a few of the others had us losing that game even with Tua. Do I think, Chop's going to be good, bro? I'm telling you, Chop's going to be good. Give this kid patience and time. He's going to be good. Trust me. Because I saw people were like, oh, the biggest downgrade from Chop to AVG. That wasn't the downgrade. They downgraded AVG to Shaq Barrett. Let's call a spade a spade. The AVG downgrade was to Shaq Barrett, not Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson was going to come in no matter what. See, and, I agree, John, the line sucks. But what were you taking where we were at? Right? You were probably going to take a center where we're at. Aaron Brewer's not the problem right now. Now, there were guys I liked who were on the board, like Christian Haynes and stuff like that, that they didn't take, right? There were guys on that board that I thought they should have been taking in later rounds that they kind of passed on. Where I was kind of like, I wouldn't pass on him. Right? Christian Haynes from UConn was sitting there. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have passed on him. There were guys. Mason McCormick was there. Mahogany was on the board. And they passed on these guys. Now, I wouldn't have passed on those guys. I would have taken at least one. D. Wolverine says, no quarterback would look good behind this offensive line, no matter who your name is. Burrow, Love, Herbert. It doesn't matter. The line is bad. Point blank, period. The line's bad, bro. You ain't going to get a lie from me. And I think the problem is you're seeing a ripple effect of you going cost effective. Liam Eichenberg is affecting Austin Jackson's play. He doesn't look like the same guy he was beside Robert Hunt. Imagine a good line with Achane. Imagine a good O-line with Tua. Over 450 of you in the room. Do me the favor, smash the like button, at least for me. Subscribe if you're new. Disappointing day. Skylar Thompson hurt. Kendall Fuller hurt. Storm Duck hurt. Teron Armstead hurt. 4 more bodies down. They're just dropping like flies right now. Depth is a real serious concern for all of us heading into this year. And it's already 3 games in, it's popped up. And the worst part about that is, while all these injuries are popped up, the Miami Dolphins are starting to feel their backs go up against the wall, and they're starting to get into must-win situation and must-win territory. And a lot of this stuff, it could have been avoided if you could have just admitted when you whiffed on stuff. Could have admitted you whiffed on Eichenberg and moved off of him. Could have admitted you whiffed on Robert Jones as a backup and a contingency plan to win, but instead you continue to invest. Could have admitted you whiffed on Skylar Thompson and moved off of him. Instead, he goes out there and it looks like the same guy he does in year 1. I mean, you could have brought Connor Williams back and shifted him to guard. A lot of us would feel better with Patrick Paul or Armstead, Connor Williams, Aaron Brewer, Liam Eichenberg, and Austin Jackson than we do right now. Anyways, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Go enjoy Sunday night football. Go get some enjoyment out of your Sunday. Dolphins lose. It was ugly. 3 points. Bad coaching. Bad game planning. Bad play calling. Poor player execution. Undisciplined penalties. Offense, once again, lets down the defense who did their job. I will see y'all in the next one. You already know what time it is. Fins up. As hard as that may be right now, have a fantastic evening, everyone. We'll talk to y'all in the next one.